Chinese Premier Li Qiang wraps up a 4-day trip to Australia in its resource-rich West with talks on Beijing's investments in critical minerals. Our Chinese Premier concluding that his final day in Australia after 4 days of discussions on lingering trade barriers, security concerns, as well as ways to strengthen business apart from broader bilateral relations. Mr. Li visited a lithium processing plant in Western Australia earlier. The state supplies more than half of the world's lithium, and China is one of its top customers. Our lithium is a key ingredient in China's electric vehicle industry, which leads the world in sales. But Australia shares U.S. concerns over China's global dominance in critical minerals and has been looking to reduce its reliance on Beijing's investments. Earlier, Mr. Li and Mr. Albanese held talks in the capital, Canberra, as both hailed renewed ties and sought deeper economic links. That includes granting reciprocal entry visas for tourism, business and visiting family members. The two countries agreed to deepen cooperation in energy and mining. The talks were, however, overshadowed by an incident during a signing ceremony at Australia's Parliament on Monday. Two Chinese diplomats had appeared to shadow and block Australian journalist Cheng Lei from view. Ms. Cheng returned to Australia last year after being detained in China for 3 years on allegations of espionage. Prime Minister Albanese called the diplomats' behaviour ham-fisted and clumsy. He added that Australia has followed up with the Chinese embassy to express their concern. CNA's Olivia Siong tells us more about how China is viewing the outcome of Premier Li Qiang's trip to Australia.
This trip by the Chinese Premier being painted as a sign of stabilizing relations. The Premier said that since Prime Minister Albanese visited China in November last year, more progress has been made towards re-establishing dialogue and cooperation. He even said that this was a comprehensive turnaround of bilateral relations after what we know had been a rather troubled relationship in the years before that. But no doubt both sides also acknowledging that there are differences that remain and that need to be managed with things moving forward. But where they have found common ground, it's clear that a lot of talk about cooperation with agreements being signed has been on the trade and investment front. Significant also that the Chinese Premier on his last day was visiting Western Australia, which provides about 40% of the world's iron ore, also Australia's largest export to China. We know that iron ore is used in China's steel-making industry. Also, the Chinese Premier visiting an Australian mining company's research facility, as well as a processing plant, which is Chinese-controlled, that produces lithium hydroxide. Now, that material being used in the production of electric vehicle batteries. And we know that EVs are part of China's new productive forces, which it sees as key to giving its economy, which has been challenged, a boost. But we do know that there have been concerns when it comes to critical minerals. Australia previously voicing concern over China's control over these supplies and the impact that it has on supply chains in the renewable energy sector. And so how this will be managed moving forward, clearly something that China and Australia will continue to have to work out, even as they press ahead with hoping to boost trade that they say will benefit both sides.